Spider-Man. Spider-Man. That's exactly what you're looking for. Me to comment on Spider-Man. Welcome. I'm Kendall Bryan Hunter. I'm author of this book, Consider My Servant Job, which is a commentary on the book of Job in the Old Testament. And this is the Eyes of Faith podcast, where, even though this is ostensibly a religious one, we do talk about Spider-Man here. I never went to Spider-Man for Halloween. My younger brother did. I went Superman and Batman. My mom had this little homemade reversible cape. So on one side it was Batman, you could flip it over, and then was Superman on the other side, handmade, and gave a copy of it to my nephew. But that's not the movie. You are looking good. You are 3 steps above average. If your spider sense is tingling, we have some breaking news. Dr. Fauci, I've seen various figures for this, but I'll go with one from NBC News. Dr. Fauci pled the fifth 106 times. And it got to the point where it got a little silly. Is there a binder in front of you? I plead the fifth. They should have had some fun with this. Dr. Fauci, do you believe that you exist? I plead the fifth. Dr. Fauci, do you believe that you are sane? I plead the fifth. Dr. Fauci, do you believe that you exist? I plead the fifth. Dr. Fauci, are you in a relationship with the Hamburglar? I plead the fifth. That was a lost opportunity. I remember one of the senators was getting on his high horse, condemning him, but no, you got to make this funny. You got to make this funny, just to illustrate this theater of the absurd that's going on there. So, plead the fifth. I will now give my review of Spider-Man in slow motion. Just kidding. So here's my review of Spider-Man. It was an enjoyable movie. I do recommend go seeing it. You will be fulfilled. It almost felt like a back-to-basics movie, which can be done with the complex background MCU. I think they said in the 3 Spider-Man movie that Spider-Man's really a solo act, and that's correct. That's according to the original 1960s canon. You remember he got his power. He went to the Fantastic Four, and for some reason they snubbed him, so he had to set it on his own, and he just kind of kept it to himself. And that's part of the appeal of Spider-Man. He's a poor kid who's lonely, high school kid, and doing the best he can with this gift that he has. That's the appeal of Spider-Man. He's the blue collar. Superman and Batman, they're rich white collar. Spider-Man's blue collar. We can resonate and relate to that. So it was enjoyable. I always wondered if forgetfulness was a good thing to do, but it's a done deal now. They've been working with it. The problem they had with the movie is that they felt like there's too much crammed in there. It's the third movie problem. Superman 3, X-Men 3, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3. They know it's going to be the last movie, but so they try to just do it in. They just don't restrain themselves. To his credit, whatever you think about, despite its flaws, the Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, the Dark Knight trilogy, they did not overload the ending, and I really appreciate that. Another problem I had was with the slapstick body slamming, just back and forth, and Spider-Man constantly slamming against the walls over and over again. You probably seen in the commercial with Frank Castle, the Punisher. It kept calling him Frank. I know there's sometimes there's legal reasons why they can't use the name the Punisher or what have you, but we know it's him, and it just gets annoying because it's not quite realistic. They are setting it up for Doomsday. There's a little bit of a twist at the end. So Spider-Man, this is a faithful podcast, talking about things from the eyes of faith. One, the use of taking the name of God in vain. Oh my gosh, to quote Napoleon Dynamite, gosh, is a bit overdone. I think it's interesting why you do that. It's a law of diminishing returns. It becomes less effective the more you do it. It's also offensive to people of faith. the sacredness of the name of God, reverencing Him, not invoking Him frivolously. Is every sin okay so long as it's funny? If you can make a joke out of every sin, is that okay? It is one of the 10 Commandments, taking the name of God in vain, so that was it. A bit of an issue for me, but another thing, Spider-Man. Is Spider-Man a Christic figure? Is he a symbol of Jesus Christ? He is. You know, he's someone with a lot of power, and he's using it constructively. He's helping other people. The blood of Jesus Christ and Peter Parker's radioactive blood, the similarities. But how the blood is what empowers both Christ's mission, Christ, and when he does his mission with Spider-Man. So not to be sacrilegious, but we are sneaking Jesus Christ in there. You're seeing a symbol of Jesus Christ. The relationships, realizing that sometimes you have to set aside good things for better things. And if you do have this power, like I have this microphone, this channel here, I have to use it responsibly, the same way that Spider-Man does it. And, you know, quote Uncle Ben, great power comes with great responsibility. Same thing with Jesus Christ, his responsibility, his power. Think of him as an individual. He's a person who, in the premortal council, consented to be the lamb slain from the foundation of the world. And you see that with a little bit with Spider-Man, just saying, okay, this got dumped on me, how can I make the best of it? I have to lose my friends. Certainly Jesus Christ was betrayed by his friends, which hasn't happened to Spider-Man, but yeah, he's a Christic figure, Christic elements to him. So you can feel good about that. I'm not saying it's a Sunday school lesson, but you feel good about it. It's ennobling your thoughts, so long as we stop using the name of God in vain. War front. The war with Iran. It's a stop. We start again. I'm glad there's a low body count. Remember, the end game is to drop the terrorism, get Iran to drop this terroristic pose and kill people, and have peaceful interactions like civilized people. Instead of a kinetic war or a terrorist war, we just have a trade war, like we're having with every single country on the planet now with the tariffs. Whatever you think of them, and, you know, obvious prediction, once Trump gets out of office, they may stop doing the tariffs or tweak them a bit. But at Warfront, just be grateful. There's just a lower body count. That was the problem with Vietnam. It was a body bag telethon. News blips. I want to keep this kind of quick. I'm running a little bit late. It was I had problems with my Walmart delivery this morning, so I had to reschedule it. Then that threw off when I was going to head out for the movie, you know, sort of this collision thing. But as a grown-up, you learn how to deal with things and work around things and to tweak things to make things function. News blip, Twitter, X, Elon Musk's free speech platform now has a banking aspect to it. Remember that Elon Musk started out being involved with PayPal. And it's interesting, it was a merger of two companies. His was actually originally called X.com. Merged with PayPal. They came together. That's where he just has this weird fetish. That's the name of one of his kids is X. Has a weird fetish with X. It's something you put up with to get the space program going. But he wants to make this an everything app. Messaging, social media, banking, you know, computer dating. He wants to make it an everything app. That's what we love about him, so we're grateful for that. Think about, in the United States of America, the Western world, we have a pretty solid banking. There's not to say there's not scandals with Wells Fargo, but so again, there's this one credit union here in Provo called Bountiful Credit Union, I think it is. Just one branch. They're a small little thing, but it has a loyal customer base, and they do the job, and you're grateful for a stable banking system. That's when you go to these countries, maybe you served your mission in the country where you don't have a stable banking system. that prevents prosperity. But that's why one of the reasons why America's so wealthy is the banking system. And Elon Musk is in PayPal, these other micro banks, these online banks, they're bringing this level of stability and prosperity to these other countries. We're grateful for that. Not surprising news. Did I mention that Fauci pled the fifth 106 times? I'm sorry, just Italian surname, pleading the fifth. I reject stereotypes, but sort of it is funny. So, yeah. Another not surprising news. ICE seeking fines of more than $470,000 against immigration attorney for allegedly filing false asylum claims. False asylum claims? Fraudulent asylum claims threaten the safety of the American people, said the Homeland Security, undermine our immigration system, and delay the removal of dangerous criminal illegal aliens, said DHS General Counsel James Percival. ICE is seeking, or NICE, is seeking a fine of more than $470,000 from attorney Suraj Raj Singh. So that's S-I-G-N-H. That's Indian name, and the Singh is someone who's a Sikh or has a Sikh in his ancestry. He filed 118 claims that were fraudulent. Under President Trump and Secretary Mullen, we will hold attorneys like this accountable and put an end to the practice of defrauding and abusing our immigration system. So I want to hit the pause button here. You were back in 2016, so 10 years ago, we had, for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we had the I Was a Stranger program, the Relief Society, and it focused upon the refugees in Europe. And one of the people involved with it was a member of the 70 by the name of Patrick Kieran. He's the one who looks like the Australian actor Rod Taylor from The Time Machine. And he gave a talk in conference called Refuge from the Storm. And he said in the talk, there are estimated 60 million refugees in the world today, which means that 1 in every 22 humans have been forced to flee their homes, and half of these are children. This moment does not define the refugees, but our response will help define us. So, that talk about I was a stranger, and we know the people of Ammon were refugees. We were refugees, Caldwell County. Ultimately refugees to Utah. So did we steal land from the Mexicans, or did we steal land from the Indians? Or maybe the Mexicans stole it from the Indians, we stole it from them. Maybe the Native Americans migrated across the Bering Land Bridge, so they're also colonists. But here's the trend. You have the obvious humanitarian crisis, and you have the obvious abuses, and both are going on, and that's what's throwing us off, because people who are politically left will say, we have this crisis, we need to drop what we're doing, we need to convert every single temple into a homeless shelter to take care of these immigrants. And then somebody who's conservative says, we have all this fraud going on, we need to put the brakes on it. And for some reason we're unable to bridge the reality gap that both of these trends are going on. There's a crisis and there are abuses going on, and the abuses, okay, this is what happens with the welfare fraud, the welfare abuse. That leads to deficit spending to cover this. Deficit spending leads to national debt. National debt leads to inflation. Inflation leads to hyperinflation. Hyperinflation leads to system collapse. Just study how it goes on in different countries where they have this hyperinflation problem. And it comes from government spending. And the fraud from these refugees, not just Somalian, this is a business model that many of the refugees are adopting, committing fraud and living at a higher standard of living than I have. Both are going on, and that's one of the barriers to solving this, is admitting that both things are going on, not just one, but both of them. Now, in April 6, 1942, there's a first presidency statement by Heber J. Grant and J. Reuben Clark and David O. McKay. So we have Elder Kieran, who's a living apostle, and I'm quoting a dead first presidency. So make of it what you will. It said this letter, and this is, remember, this is in the context of a few months after the bombing of Pearl Harbor and our entry into World War II and a war with Japan and Germany. We again warn our people in America of the constantly increasing threat against our inspired Constitution and our free institutions set up under it. The proponents thereof are seeking to undermine our own form of government and set up instead one of the forms of dictatorships now flourishing in other lands. These revolutionists are using a technique that is as old as the human race, a fervid but false solicitude for the unfortunate over whom they thus gain mastery and then enslave them. So you think about this. The people overthrowing the government, and the tip of the spear of the wedge is, okay, I'm going to care for the poor. If you're poor, I'll help you out. And you think about some of these statements from the Squad, from Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. Rashida Tlaib, she loves using the F word a lot. Mother effer. That's her slogan. Biden's was malarkey, hers is mother effer. Nancy Pelosi, business model. She gets elected to office and her husband becomes rich. Same thing happens with the Ilhan Omar. It's a business model that they're adopting, where you get a woman run for office and her husband becomes rich for some reason. And it undermines the country. It creates system collapse. However, Brigham Young taught this. This is Teachings of the President of the Church, Brigham Young, page 217. Suppose that in this community there are 10 beggars who beg from door to door for something to eat, and that 9 of them are impostors who beg to escape work. You all say, administer charitable gifts to the 10 rather than turn away the only true worthy and truly needy person among them. If you do this, it will make no difference in your blessings whether you administer to worthy or unworthy persons, inasmuch as you give alms with a single eye to assist the truly needy. So that we're doing with I Was a Stranger, and we're helping the needy out. So there are people committing fraud, but let's help the needy with the fraudsters. Let the both in. But I want you to think about Brigham Young's example. And just multiply it. So you have 9 fraudsters. One needy person who begs, who's an honest person, the Lord's poor. And then you have the 9 needy people who are milking the system. They go on to set up daycare centers. And it keeps on happening. That's a lot of fraud. That's a lot of dishonest beggars. That's a lot of daycare centers being set up. So do we isolate this one statement and just let it go at that, or we realize, okay, we need to have a vetting system, not an exclusionary or system when we're pushing people out, but we have to double check these people. You know, that man with that young girl, is that girl really his daughter? Is that girl his sex slave? Or do we say, okay, well, wait a minute, Brigham Young said, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so what happens to that young girl? So my solution is that we have to have a multi-pronged approach where we recognize that both sides of the argument are true, but incomplete. We do take care of the immediate refugee needs, but we do need to have a vetting process. We do need to give DNA tests. Okay, yeah, that's really your daughter. That's really your son. These are really your children. Oh, you came here on a humanitarian thing, but you're doing a vacation back to your home country that you fled. What's that suitcase full of money? It's basically an adherence to principle. And I know that chafes some people because people just like the euphoria, the giggles they get off of helping people, but mercy cannot rob justice, or God would cease to be God. You've probably seen by now the videos of the 50,000 Moroccan immigrants trying to get to Spain. When you see that video, each one of those is a child of God. When you see the Nick Shirley videos with the Somalis legitimately engaging in welfare fraud, those are also children of God. Each one of these people is in need, except for the ones that have been committing the fraud for a long time. These refugees are in need, and we need to help them. It's a humanitarian problem, But fraud is also a humanitarian problem if it collapses the system. It's a bit like you'll have a church leader who's so focused on charitable community service that they get irritated when you talk about redeeming the dead. I had a stake president who chafed at that. Both things are going on, and it's funny because you're getting into a logical argument. You say, okay, we need to convert the temples into homeless shelters. But even though we have a verse in the Doctrine and Covenants, section 124, where the Lord says, I'm going to reject the church and the dead if you don't do this, you'll get this temple built. Another way to think about that is the Book of Mormon, the allegory of the olive tree, is when you graft too many branches in, it kills the tree. The loftiest of the branches kills the tree. You allow too many people in here, and you have people who don't assimilate, and there's two phases, vetting and then assimilation. And we need to keep track of all of them. It's no different than a missionary who just keeps on baptizing and doesn't do the nurturing that's necessary and the retention. It's the same. You get focused on one aspect to the point where it becomes problematic. Imagine a mission where they took that literally and emphatically, where said, we're just going to baptize people, and it's not us to judge whether they're righteous or they're going to stay in the church or not. What happens to the mission? Well, if you remember a few years ago, President Hinckley sent out President Oaks to the Philippines and President Jeffrey R. Holland to Chile to help. It's not a cleanup job. It's not that gross or vulgar, but it's managing the inactivity problem when baptisms get out of hand and you're not retaining people. It's serious. It does not lend itself to sound bites. It doesn't lend itself to partisanship. It doesn't lend itself to one quote, one conference talk, and waving that as if that's some totality of reality. You just think about it. That you have the quote from Brigham Young, and you want to be respectful, but you see once you multiply that, it does become a problem. And that's why the church has always called for a balanced approach to everything, including immigration, including humanitarian relief. President Oaks gave a talk called "Our Strength Can Be Our Downfall" at BYU. Our strengths can be our downfall. Give it a play. Compassion for immigrants, that's good, but it's not the totality of the gospel. If you're ignoring the dead and you're allowing fraud to go on, it's a balanced approach. Everything counts. America 250. This is more of a snarky comment. Henry Cavill, a British actor, he plays Superman. Tom Holland, Spider-Man. He's also a British royal subject to His Royal Majesty King Charles III. So, two American icons in film, both British, and that during our Henry Cavill doesn't count. We now have the corn sweat as our Superman now, but it's just an observation. Life some pointers. Escape denial and embrace the truth. As you age, you're going to have health issues. Be honest about it. Okay, you are going to have to take extra medicine. You may be getting metformin or insulin. You're not getting healthy, you're aging. And just embrace the truth that you can't ignore it, you can't deny it. And get some exercise and get some sun, but always stay hydrated. Just get the help you need. Life's important. Just embrace the change and be honest about how old you are. E-devotional. And once again, as I made, this is a religious podcast. This is a copy of my book. But I'm not going to talk about my book. I am selling a book. I'll be honest with that. But if my book doesn't help you, maybe this will help you. This is from President Dallin H. Oaks, the prophet of the church, the president and prophet, seer, and revelator of the church I belong to. Hopefully, and you're welcome to attend and learn about our church. He said this is in 2008. Consider the themes of the books, magazine, movies, and television and music we have in the world have made popular by patronage. Okay, consider the themes of the books, magazines, movies, television, and music we have in the world made popular by our patronage. Okay, I don't want to criticize the construction of that sentence, but you get the idea. We popularize weird things with our entertainment. Do the things portrayed in our chosen entertainment build up or tear down the children of God? Okay, does Spider-Man build you up or tear you down? Does Supergirl that build you up or tear you down? The Odyssey, does that tear you up or build you down? Continuing President Oaks, during my lifetime, I've seen a strong trend to set aside entertainment that builds up and dignifies the children of God and to replace it with portrayals and performances that are depressing, demeaning, and destructive. The powerful ideas in this contrast is whatever builds people up serves the cause of the master. Whatever tears down people serves the cause of the adversary. We support one cause or the other every day by our patronage and by our thoughts and our desires. This should remind us of our responsibility to support what is good and motivate us toward doing things in a way that will be pleasing to Him, whose suffering offers us hope. So you think about that. I think it was when I was talking about the Odyssey. We had General Authority HEBER Peterson say that rated R movies were produced under satanic influence, and had a friend of mine that just wonked him off and gave me 3 posts on social media, read me the riot act over that. Well, let's say the same thing. Instead of saying, okay, is this a church rule, a deontological approach to obedience, ask this open-ended question: does this version of the Odyssey lead you to Christ? Some people, regardless of what's put on there, they always say yes. You can always find something good. There's a saying that a murderer, an assassin has to be a good shot. There's goodness in everything. An assassin has to be a good shot, and a safe cracker has to be good with combination locks. There's always some element of goodness in everything. Same thing with the movie. The movie has to be good at some level. But in the totality is what you're watching, leading you to Christ and leading you to love your neighbor. There's a glorifying a drunk Supergirl with a plot ripped off from Keanu Reeves movie that we all know about. It's one that I haven't seen. John Wick. Just have to get their dog back. Well, wait a minute. Okay, so it's the guy doing it now. It's a girl doing it, and she's drunk. And is that really what you want in your life? Do you want your daughters seeing that type of Supergirl? So form your own opinion. We're at a half an hour. This is great. I need to cut back. I need to stop talking so much. So, Spider-Man, I give it maybe about 3.5 stars. MCU, DCU, EU have been struggling. Star Wars, everything's been struggling with the woke virus. Maybe this is a better day for Spider-Man. And that's the passing scene. Seen with the eyes of faith.